Good evening. Welcome to a new series of Strange But True. We'll be offering you tales of the mysterious, the extraordinary, and the paranormal, and putting them to the test. Nearly all of us seem to have had such experiences, or know someone who has. A sighting of mysterious lights in the sky, an encounter with a ghostly apparition, or perhaps a vivid premonition. The skeptics naturally claim we're still waiting for definitive proof that any of these phenomena actually exist. But if a paranormal event was to be caught on camera, would that be enough to provide conclusive evidence? And in over 100 years of photography, surely by now there must be such an image. Just before Christmas 1996, over 800,000 people flocked from all over the world to gather outside an office block in Clearwater, Florida. What they saw caused many of them to faint, become hysterical, or claim to have had life-changing experiences. They lit candles and left gifts and donations of over £20,000 outside the building. Their pilgrimage had been inspired by this image on the glass-fronted structure. To some, it was a simple trick of refracted light, but to others, it was the manifestation of the Virgin Mary herself. A case of believing what you see or seeing what you want to believe. Dr. Roger Green is an expert witness in assessing photos and video images.
I think the explanation is relatively simple. If we drop some oil on some water, we get what's known as a colour fringing effect. It's due to the way the light falls on the surface and is diffused and reflected from that surface. It's a classical scientific phenomenon.
The Freeman's Guild dinner at Coventry's 14th century Guild Hall. A pleasant enough scene, but on closer examination there appears to be a rather sinister guest saying grace at the top table. No one recalls seeing the hooded figure on the night.
I don't think it's a hoax. Certain things about the image which are strange, and I think it's a curious coincidence of events whereby one person standing here is in front of another person in white, who could be a waitress or it could be the ghost of a knight in armour. It's all a matter of interpretation, and this is, in a sense, the mystery of the picture.
This picture was taken by a vicar. Would a man of the cloth be so mischievous as to invent a ghostly presence in his own church?
I find it an interesting figure, not least of which is certain inconsistencies about it as far as what might be called common sense is concerned. But optically, if we look at the figure here, we can see, if we look very carefully, there are in fact what seem to be specular reflections from a pair of glasses. And if we use image processing techniques even more, we can actually home in and see what appears to be an eye behind a piece of cloth. In addition, I find it rather strange that the monk figure has decided to cover his head with a piece of cloth anyway, so the whole thing is just generally rather implausible.
Video is not so easy to tamper with. This footage was shot by a birdwatcher in Yorkshire. It was only when he watched the video at home that he noticed two spectral figures in the background.
Well, I have to say it gave him the creeps, because I was quite surprised to see some what appeared to be figures within the field of view. Where the figures appear to be is actually quite a dangerous area. It's an old sewerage bed, about 30 feet deep in unmentionable material. And these figures appear to be standing right on the spot. It's almost an impossible situation physically, because I've been to the site, taken photographs, and it's not possible to stand in any way where those figures have appeared.
Any explanation of the picture remains unforthcoming. More recently, the phenomenon of crop circles has provided a new mystery. Could video evidence be used to prove that paranormal forces are at work when they are created? Just a few hundred yards from a crop circle, what appears to be a silver object hovers over some fields. Some claim it's connected.
Well, to me, it doesn't look like any kind of UFO. In fact, it looks more like a bird. It could well be a seabird, because it's moving erratically and it's got perhaps glossy wings which reflect the light in a manner not unlike a metallic object.
In this video, the moving white objects are seen by some to be UFOs in the process of creating designs in a cornfield. For 34 years, Peter Southurst was a technical expert at Kodec, where he examined hundreds of so-called paranormal images.
That was one of the most bizarre pieces of film that I've ever seen. It's unusual to actually see a crop circle actually being produced. I don't think I've ever seen one or heard of one being produced before. We're seeing some kind of electrical device hovering around the field, and then suddenly the crop circles appeared.
One problem is that the identity of the person who took the video is a mystery. But what if footage is supplied by a reputable source like NASA from a space shuttle camera pointing at the Earth? Nick Pope was guardian of the real-life X-Files on UFOs at the Ministry of Defense.
This is a fascinating piece of footage. What we're looking at here is three objects which are apparently rendezvousing with each other. This is interesting because the astronauts are zooming in on this, so if this was just something natural and mundane, why the interest being expressed?
The three objects, which form a sort of triangle, look to me to be some form of specular reflection, and as the camera zooms in effect on them, they change their configuration because of the change of the optical path. So they're most likely internal in some way to the system.
This is a famous photograph taken from an aircraft over Costa Rica in 1971. Again, it appears to show a disc-shaped craft. It certainly seems to be pretty big, but it was only in the picture for about one frame, which means that it was going very, very fast.
I was an aerial photographer at one time, and one of the things that can happen when you're taking photographs from the air is that you get things dropping off. So I think we're looking there at something which has fallen from the aircraft, is still within a few feet of the aircraft, and has been imaged by the camera as it's gone down.
There are thousands of images which are alleged to feature visitors from outer space. Some could simply be saucepan lids, reflections, or even a well-placed button. Others wouldn't be out of place in an old B-movie.
Well, I think quite a lot of them are hoaxes. In the case of this particular one, we have to look very carefully at the lighting in the scene. If we look at the grass on the ground near to the camera, we can in fact see a shadow from this so-called UFO, which is appropriate to a small object near the camera and not a large object further away. In addition, the antenna on the top of the UFO appears to be of the wrong kind for long-distance radio communication. As an engineer, I find that rather strange for a high-tech machine.
90% of these unidentified images on film can be dismissed as different types of aircraft or natural phenomena. But is some footage worth more detailed inspection? Since 1991, Mexico has been home to hundreds of sightings like this one. And this one, seen on the same day as the total eclipse of the sun.
I think we were looking at something which was a weather balloon, which comes down, changes shape, revolves, and does a whole variety of contortions as it comes down to Earth.
This doesn't look like a weather balloon to me. Weather balloons fly fairly steadily up through the atmosphere and then drift on the wind and then come down to Earth. This appears to be hovering. It's no weather balloon. Here we've got a truly remarkable piece of film footage. Clearly shows a structured craft moving slowly across the screen with apparently a flashing light on the underside. Now, some of the skeptics might say, well, this is an airship. The flight paths of these airships are well known.
As it happens, no airships were confirmed to have been airborne at the time. Earlier this year, there were reports of the most stunning UFO video ever seen. It was apparently enough to convince an insurance company to pay out £1 million to a man called Joe Carpenter, who claimed he'd been abducted by aliens. But there was something about his story that seemed just too good to be true.
I went to Swindon, Wiltshire with a couple of my friends. We have a small UFO group called Majestic.
We got spare batteries?
We are armed to the teeth with all manner of high-tech gear, camcorders, binoculars, in order to do a sky search to see if we can find or observe any strange phenomena in the sky. But for 2 hours, nothing happened. Suddenly, the torches flickered.
Oh, great. We can't be the batteries, they're new.
Joe, where are you going?
I felt this weird force pulling at me.
Joe! Joe! Come back!
I saw this bluey glow triangular object. All of a sudden I was hit with an intense beam of light and I was lifted off the ground. I then awoke. I was in an extremely surreal place The only way I could describe it was a dome-like structure. And I saw a shadowy figure, what looked like dolphin shapes. My camcorder was still running, and the next thing I remember is that I was once again falling to the ground.
Joe! Joe! Oh, I'm recording it. We have a claim, and there's an 80% likelihood that we will be paying that claim. That was our simple objective.
The man in the audience was Simon Burgess, managing director of insurance company Grip, who'd covered Joe against alien abduction. He claimed the video evidence had convinced him to pay out £1 million. As the story hit the headlines, Joe was flown all over Europe to give his account.
Eventually things got way out of control. I had phone calls from France, Germany, all over Europe, Canada, Australia, America. The whole world and his brother wanted to interview Joseph Carpenter. Now, I couldn't handle this. Friends, family, people from off the street were asking for money. Eventually, I thought I have to tell the truth. This is too much for me.
Joe finally admitted the whole story was a hoax. Joe Carpenter is in fact Joe Tagliarini, a family man from Enfield. His real video archives consist of nothing more unusual than sightings of his son, Luke.
I created the alien abduction insurance certificate basically as a novel thing. I had a friend in the insurance industry. I did persuade him that it would be in his interests and mine to participate in the hoax of claiming to have paid out a successful claim of £1 million. My main objective was to see if people really did believe, and they did.
Joe still goes on regular sky watches with his friends, and he's promised to let us know if he has a real close encounter. But I think next time we'll need a little more than his word on it. It's well known that twins have a special rapport. But what if the link between them goes further than that? In part 2, we look at twin sisters who can actually feel what is happening to each other, even if they're thousands of miles apart.
And we both fell off the swings at exactly the same time. And we both cut our tongues open, and Mum rushed us both to the hospital.
We're all fascinated to watch twins in action. They seem to kind of mirror each other's movements. They finish off sentences for each other. They have the same mannerisms and so on. There is definitely a very special psychological relationship there.
Even as the twins grew up and apart, they shared a common bonding in the experience of pain and discomfort. This took a further twist when Sherilyn went into hospital to have her first child. What followed suggested that one could now transmit her physical condition to the other, with surprising but unpleasant results.
After being in labour for about 6 or 7 hours, the midwife decided that it was best to have an epidural to ease the pain. So in comes the anaesthetist, and there's everybody in there. They fix up the epidural, and the labour is progressing. I'm still getting terrible pains.
Nurse, I can't stand this anymore.
It was evident that the medication was having no effect on Sherilyn. However, over 250 miles away at Lindsay's house, it was a different matter.
My legs started to feel very, very strange. A very strange sensation came over them. The numbness sort of crept down my legs.
Johnny, I can't move. Johnny, come and help me. What?
It appeared as though Sherilyn had transmitted the desired effect of the drug to Lindsay. But having done so, she now exposed herself to the impending pain of childbirth.
Some help.
Quite disturbing, the fact that she had the pain relief and I'm sat there having the baby with no pain relief.
This empathy was not diminished even when Lindsay moved to Hong Kong. Now a new dimension was to become apparent when she was admitted to hospital with symptoms which were diagnosed as needing urgent and serious surgery. But was Lindsay again just expressing Sherilyn's condition?
I had the hysterectomy in the October. The following day, the doctor came and he said, Mrs. Brady, we have actually taken out a perfectly healthy womb. If we'd have had more time, we could have prevented this by hormone treatment or whatever, but because of your condition, because you were so ill and anemic, we had to do something quickly. My first thoughts were, oh my golly, Sherry's got the problem.
In the January of the following year, I had my hysterectomy. Even on the morning when I was having the operation, the specialist said, we really don't need to go through with this. And I said, yes, I insist. When I came round from the anaesthetic, he came back and he said, good job we did this. My womb had a severe endometriosis.
At times, I feel that it's pressure on us both, because if one of us is feeling unwell, then the other one's going to feel it.
Over the years, I've definitely felt more pain for Lindsay than Lindsay's felt pain for me, which is annoying really, because it's enough having to put up with your own pain without having to feel hers as well. And I do sometimes worry that if we were to ever have something seriously wrong with us, both together at the same time, what the effects on both of us would be. It can be a curse, because you sometimes don't know what you're feeling, whether it's yours, whether it's hers.
Can Lindsay and Sherilyn's ability to experience each other's feelings be explained by non-verbal skills acquired in their mother's womb, even though they can be thousands of miles apart? If it is because they spent a large part of their formative years in close proximity, then how can we explain in our second case the remarkable coincidences that occurred to twins who were separated at birth and did not meet for 30 years? Barbara and Daphne were born in Hammersmith Hospital in July 1939. Their mother, Helena Jakobsen, was an unmarried Finnish au pair who'd come to England to give birth to her illegitimate children away from her family and shame. The twins were given up for immediate adoption, but no family could be found that was willing to take both girls, so they were adopted by separate families of very different social and economic backgrounds. Their upbringing could not have been more dissimilar. Barbara was brought up in a working-class family in the west of London. There was very little income from their father, a council park gardener. Daphne was raised in comfortable surroundings in Luton. Her adopted father, a professional man, able to provide every advantage. However, the girls were to share much in common.
I went to school. It was St Paul's School. The education was very, very poor. I didn't even pass my 11 plus. I left school at 14 and I went to work for Derry and Tom's. I failed my 11 plus for the second time and I left school just before I was 15, and in the August I started work. I came down to Dover because my stepsister was here and we went to a town hall dance. It was Christmas time. I think it was Christmas Eve when I met him. I met my husband at a town hall dance. They have a annual Christmas dance and I met my husband there and he walked me home. Got married in October, which is sort of an autumn wedding. And I think I was a bit unusual because I had a wedding dress that was blue, but it had white lace over the top. And it was a very nice wedding in Dover. And we had, the theme was blue and white, which I thought was pretty unusual at the time.
In the mid-1970s, Barbara first saw her birth certificate and discovered that not only was she adopted, but because the time of the birth had been recorded, that she was also a twin. There followed a long and arduous battle with bureaucracy in her search to find the twin she'd not seen for over 30 years. Eventually, Barbara was allowed to write to her sister in the hope of making personal contact. She now found herself in the position of coming face to face with her own living mirror image, Daphne. The question ran through her mind, what would her sister be like after all these years? A meeting was arranged at King's Cross Station.
The meeting was rather strange. I wasn't necessarily nervous. I was a little bit excited. The train pulled in and Daphne was right in front of me. And she opened the carriage door, she said hi. We didn't kiss, we didn't hug, there was no need. And we wandered off the platform chatting away. We forgot about our husbands, we'd left them behind.
Reunited after 30 years, Daphne and Barbara began to discover all the similarities in their separate lives.
Got married, then sort of a few months after that I had a miscarriage. Then I went on to have 2 boys and a girl. I had a miscarriage, unfortunately, and then I had 2 sons and a daughter in that order. I'm not interested at all in politics.
Yes, a horrible pink pot.
I don't like politics. I don't vote. When I was 15, I was working Derry and Tom's store, and I fell down some stairs. Well, I think I first started falling down stairs when I was about 14, 15. Therefore, if I go down some stairs, I've got to hold on, or at least touch a rail. I am pretty worried about stairs, and I do hold on.
How could Daphne and Barbara have shared so many experiences over the years without ever having known of each other's existence?
Basically, we are quite surprised, I think, at the degree to which things like preferences do seem to be genetically determined. But the fact that they are means that even with twins who are separated at birth and reared apart, they will quite often follow quite similar life courses.
Now, Barbara.
The sisters travelled to America to assist research into twins.
I'd like you to write a sentence for me.
One experiment in particular stood out.
Anything you want.
And I sort of panicked. I thought, oh my God, I've got to write a sentence. So I wrote, "The cat sat on the mat." But unfortunately, it didn't come out like that. It came out as the CAS, C-A-S, sat on the mat.
And how are you
Then
today,
it was
Daphne?
Daphne's turn.
Right. Now, the first thing I'd like you to do for me is I'd like you to write a sentence for me.
Because you don't really know what sentence to write, so it has to be short, not meaningful and deep. So I wrote, well, I hoped it was going to be "The cat sat on the mat." But when it came out as "The CAS sat on the mat."
As a matter of routine, Lindsay and Sherilyn visit the doctor and say, "My sister is feeling unwell. Please, can I have a checkup?" An amazing story, but for them, it's part of everyday life. Good night.
And Strange But True will be back at the same time next week. Coming up next this evening, a new drama series, The Practice.